is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about the most overrated player, as I gave you guys the most underrated. I'm going to give you guys the opposite, the most overrated. Now, these players are depending on who you talk to, depending on who you watch on TV. These players can be overrated, but I'm going to tell you guys that who can be the most overrated player. I want to tell you guys who I personally think is the most overrated player going into this season of the 2018-2019 season. One person that everybody know, but for people that haven't watched my videos before, I think Joel Embiid is one of the guys that's definitely one of the more overrated players. A lot of people are putting him in their top 10. A lot of people are saying that he's an MVP candidate. A lot of people are saying that, giving him a lot of praise, which is deserved because he did come off some injuries and still become an all-star and an all-NBA player, which is hard to do, especially when you're a big man having foot surgery and knee problems and other injuries throughout the season. You got to give him credit for fighting back and continuing to come play and continuing to try to dominate a game. But I'm not going to discredit him. I just feel like he's getting a little bit too much praise than he really deserved when it comes to going against the better players in the league. Because once you get into that top 15, it's arguable, I should say, that 15 to 20, all them players are going to be in there, but they're interchangeable. We might not all agree on the top 20, but we all should know who the top 20 players are. And I feel like in that top 10, it's a lot of guys that I'd rather have and that are more proven than Joel Embiid in that top 15. He has been one of the better players, but he hasn't been as dominant as a lot of other players. He hasn't even, played enough games. He's not the most efficient. He's turnover friendly. He didn't really play well in the playoffs. A lot of people don't even bring that up or even say anything about that when they talk about Joel Embiid. He didn't play well in the playoffs against Miami or against Boston. And that does count against him. And on top of that, like I said, he has a lot of injuries. And he's not the most efficient, and he does turn the ball over a lot, and he's not that great of a shooter. Yes, he can shoot the three, but he's not a great three-point shooter. And his mid-range jumper is a little shaky to me too, but his ability to hit that fadeaway and use his footwork to get inside the basket, he's still ahead of a lot of other centers, and I give him credit for that. But when you start saying top 5, top 6, top 7, you're going a little bit too far, and you're not giving the other players that's in that realm the same amount of credit as you're giving Joel Embiid, and that's why he's personally one of my most overrated players in the game, and that's just my personal opinion. But that's one player that I would definitely say is overrated. Another player that people feel is overrated is DeMar DeRozan. I like DeMar DeRozan personally, but I understand why people think he's overrated because when it comes to the playoffs, he just doesn't show up as much as other stars do. He has been dominant in the regular season, averaging over 20 points, becoming an All-NBA player the last 2 years, and a multiple-time All-Star, and he's one of the most unstoppable players. But when the game slows down and he's not getting as many free throw attempts and he's not knocking down that shot consistently, things get ugly for DeMar DeRozan. So I can understand why people don't have him in their top 10. I understand why people keep dropping them down lower and lower because when it's all said and done, people are going to remember you for championships and your regular season accomplishments. He has the regular season's accomplishments. He has the dominance in the regular season, helping the Toronto Raptors win 59 games last year. He's always healthy. And even when Kyle Lowry goes down, he shows that he can win games without Kyle Lowry. And he showed that for multiple seasons. Now he's going to be in San Antonio with a better coach. Hopefully he can get the best out of DeMar DeRozan in the regular season and in the playoffs. He has talent. He has a decent amount of shooting. He has other playmakers, and he has another All NBA All Star and LaMarcus Aldridge to help him out. Maybe this be the year that he proved that he's one of the more underrated players, or maybe he continue to give people fuel to burn him for the most overrated player in the league as he continues not to come up big in the playoffs. Um, Another person that a lot of people that I know are saying is overrated is Mike Conley. And I think Mike Conley, the worst thing for him was the contract because people look at what he's making and people look at his basically last season, him not really playing that much games because of injuries. But, ever since he signed that contract, a lot of people has been criticizing him then and now. And I think Mike Conley, that everybody said he's underrated. He should be an all-star. He should be an all NBA player. That means people feel that he's underrated. But after he signed that massive contract to stay with the Memphis Grizzlies, people have changed on him. He went from being a guy that hard working, putting in the work. His team continues to win, but he doesn't get enough praise and credit with the awards and being an all-star. But at the same time, now, since he got that contract, people think he's overrated, he's overpaid, he's not going to live up to that contract. The midst of his Grizzlies don't need him, they need to trade him, they need to get rid of him. Now, if Guy Conley was making $15 million a year, obviously they'll make it seem like he's underrated, but now since he's getting paid like one of the best players in the league, which he is one of the better players in the league, is he top 15? Is he top 10? No. And that's why a lot of people are now saying that Mike Conley is overrated. But it's mostly because he's getting paid like an elite player instead as like Kemba Walker as an underpaid player. People always say how underrated Kemba is for that $12 million. But if Kemba got an extension this year because his contract is up, Kemba would start becoming overrated if he had got more money. It's kind of crazy how money changed how people see you, but it's the truth at the end of the day. Next, we got another player that a lot of people think definitely is overrated was Kevin Love. And he's in a similar situation like Mike Conley. When he played with LeBron, he didn't have to do as much. He didn't have to carry the load, but he was still able to give you about a double-double or close to that for the last couple of seasons. Plus, he has been able to get back on the All-Star teams the last 2 seasons, and, they made it to the finals every year that he was there. Plus, on top of that, he actually was like Chris Bosh. They needed his floor space and his ability to shoot threes. But not only was he a great player at shooting threes and mid-range jumpers for this team with pick and pop opportunities and catch and shoot opportunities, with LeBron and Kyrie cutting up the paint and kicking out, he was able to still give you three-point shooting and still give you a double-double. And that's the thing that people overlooked about Kevin Love. Yeah, it's a lot of guys that can stretch out the floor, but they can't give you 10 rebounds a game or more. That's something that Kevin Love was exceptional at, even with a lesser role. He can give you the 15 to 20 points, but he also was able to get them the 10 rebounds. And his switching defense wasn't as bad. You look at the NBA Finals that they won, and you look at some of him against other teams and players in the playoffs. Kevin Love looked good defensively. He still looked mobile. He still puts effort, even though he's not a great defender. But it's all about effort and wanting to be a great defender and wanting to put that effort and energy and trying to defend to the best of your ability. And I feel like Kevin Love, with his body, with his size, with his lateral quickness, he tries defensively. That don't mean he's a great defender, but at least he's putting the effort not to get burned. At least he's putting the effort to try to guard somebody like Steph Curry. Even though he's not a great defender, you still have to want to play defense, even if you bad. And I give him credit. He may not be the best, but at least he tries. But ever since he got joined with the other two players, his role has been reduced. He became the third best player on the team. People start looking at his numbers. They don't look at his shot attempts. They don't look at his efficiency, and they don't look at the touches. He don't have that many touches. He don't get enough touches consistently, and he's always on the perimeter shooting threes, which is the hardest shot in the game. And people fail to realize that, but since he plays with LeBron, he plays with Kyrie, and they've been going to the finals, people actually now underrating Kevin Love, but a lot of people think he was overrated because of that, but it was actually them not really paying attention to how valuable Kevin Love was to that defense and to that offense. And he actually, to me, was underrated. But honestly and truthfully, he was overrated because he played with LeBron and Kyrie, and he wasn't playing up to their level, even though he was the third option, which really don't make sense. But a lot of people thought he was overrated for that particular reason. And before I tell you guys another, my most overrated player, Another player that a lot of people are saying overrated is now Blake Griffin. And Blake Griffin is a victim of getting that supermax contract, and players starting to see he ain't the same Blake Griffin. And he's always missing games because of injuries. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Clippers gave up on him, is because you can't win a championship when your best player is not available. You can't win a championship when your best player continue to miss a lot of games. And I understand that Blake Griffin is not getting injured on purpose and not trying to literally miss games or sit out. He just got freaky injuries. He's playing hard. He's hitting game winners. He's taking over. But injuries is a part of the game. And since he got that super max contract, the money was there, and people started throwing shade at him because he isn't healthy. He isn't as dominant. He isn't as efficient. And he hasn't been an all-star or all-NBA player for years. So you can say Blake Griffin is overrated if you look at those type of things. But at the same time, injuries, you never come back 100%. You never come back the same player because you broke a bone, you lost some athleticism, and you have been injured. And you're technically getting it repaired, but it's still technically broken because, yes, they're fixing it and putting it back together to the best of their ability, but that bone is still tore or broke. Whatever, your muscle is still torn or your bones are still broke. They're just trying to find a way to get it back to where it could be healthy enough for you to play, but you're still not really 100%. But the person I have for my overrated player this year is DeAndre Jordan. He's a guy that just got paid $22 million. He was supposed to be the anchor of the defense. He was supposed to be an all-star caliber player a couple years ago. One thing I will give him credit for, he shoots up. He played 77 games last year. He doesn't really miss that many games. He's always available, and he's a guy that knows his role and doesn't stray too much far away from it. He's a rim runner. He's a guy that wants to finish in the paint, stay around that basket for drop-offs and alley-oops. Plus, he already know that, if I'm going to just rebound and dunk, I have to contribute in another way. And he said, I'm just going to focus on being a defensive player. I'm not going to be able to shoot threes. I'm not going to be able to shoot mid-range, but at least I can try to be a great defender. I don't personally think DeAndre Jordan defense is as good as advertised, and obviously he's not the best offensive player. But $22 million a year. You look at somebody like Yusuf Nurkic, Brook Lopez. You even got centers like that should be getting paid around that just in this offseason, and he got paid more than all of them. And Dallas wanted him. He was their top priority, and they like the rim runner in a pick and roll centers because now they have Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr. But will DeAndre Jordan become a lockdown defender or anchor defensively? I feel like his defense was overrated a lot when he was with the Clippers, and he was in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, but you don't hear that the last couple of years like you heard it that season, which shows you that he isn't the defender that a lot of people said. Maybe that season he should have got it. I didn't think so, but people, even Doc Rivers spoke up for him, but you didn't hear him in that conversation ever since, and that just lets you know that DeAndre Jordan defense ain't getting he ain't getting the people on the eyes and people speaking up for him no more. But going into this season, getting $22 million a year, he can give you a double-double. He can give you some decent rim protection. But at the same time, that's all about you're going to get. And I didn't think he should have got to the All-Star team either. But the Clippers was in the playoffs, and with him being in the playoffs, they picked a player off their team because Blake and Chris Paul was dealing with injuries, and DeAndre Jordan was the only person suiting up consistently, and he was able to get that All-Star appearance for the Clippers. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think DeAndre Jordan is the most overrated? Do you think he's actually underrated? Do you think it's Blake? Do you think who do you guys think is the most overrated player going into this year? And who you guys think, is the most underrated? I got a video for that. Go check that out. It's in this playlist. Let me know who you think the most overrated player is. Check out my website at analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Check out my Spreadshirt. There you can find t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, and other accessories like water bottles and pillowcases. You can find all of that on my Spreadshirt. Pick what you like, check it out, and see if you like anything. And if you do, thanks for the support. Thanks for also checking out my videos and binge watching the videos that's older. I like that y'all continually watch my videos, whether I'm asleep, whether I'm at work, or whether I'm just checking on my YouTube at work. It's pretty funny that people watching my content throughout the whole day. Thanks for the support. Thanks for binge watching. I'm gone. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. And let me know who you guys think is the most overrated player in the league. Maybe it's not an all-star. Maybe it's a role player. Let me know in the comment section below.